Shouts out BigSteve.
What up? Back again for Cage Warriors, second regional show for the week. No weeks off here, unlike some of the other cappers. Yeah, not a bad card. We'll get into it. I do have a guest. I'm just gonna wait for him to show up and yeah, chuck him in. He loves being late. So yeah, see what we can make out of this card, shall we? First fight, Matteo Martignoni versus Alessandro Luparelli. Not much to add here. You know, Luparelli been finished in both his losses, finished in his amateurs, gets taken down a lot. And this Martignoni, you know, found one amateur fight, he loses. And then in his first pro fight, he just runs through the guy. He seems to be the better fighter. Seems to be a squash match, which is weird. There's a lot of these low-level Italian squash matches, like, I don't know, maybe it's a gym association thing. But yeah, him, Martignoni is a big favorite. The under 1.5 is decent. I mean, juiced. I guess they expect him to run through him, but who the hell knows, you know? Yeah, let's go on to the next fight. Let me just do something. Talking to Pierce. Alrighty. Next fight, Costani Dolgi versus Daniela Battaglia. I didn't even tape it, so just move on. Karim Dia versus Fadul Bantayab. I didn't tape that one either. It's not on MMA Fight Archive. I know Dia. He made his debut. He's a grappler. Usually finishes people. I think he's a black belt. Couldn't finish Cabral. Most people finish Cabral. Cabral was finished in his last fight with a rear naked choke in the first round. And this other guy, I have no idea who he is, but he has a pretty salty record of 3-4 and a few rear naked choke losses. So, like I said, I didn't tape it, but I don't think these odds are even on Bet Online. So, yeah, I think that it must be a new fight, just recently added. But yeah, maybe Pierce can add a few things to these fights that we're just seeing. Alrighty. Zen Monkey. The man's always in here. As soon as I seen he was in here for Invicta, I knew this guy was going to be in every single breakdown. Thank you, mate. Alrighty. Alex Bardinesi versus Baris Adiguzel. Okay fight, I guess, for this level of card. Alex Bardinesi 4-2, you know, in and out. Seems to be well-rounded, you know, mixes in takedowns, okay striking. Fought a decent level of competition, you know, in the Italian regionals, I guess. He beat George Tanasa. You know, Tanasa's had a couple fights in the Cage Warriors now. He's won his last two, I think. Lost to Enrico Di Gagni via rear naked choke late. That was a bit of a red flag. It was a back and forth fight. He was doing well. You know, went for an E-bar. He was close. And then he, you know, gave up the rear naked and kind of early tapped. It seemed like he gave it all and just gave up. But, you know, Enrique's in his Cage Warriors, and then he got knocked out in 4 minutes by Kayaza. And that guy is also making his Cage Warriors debut. So, yeah, these fighter 4-2, you know, passes the eye test in terms of not being a bum. And this Baris Adiguzel, you know, seems to be a French kickboxer, southpaw, knocked out a bunch of nobodies, and then lost to Luca Borendo in his Cage Warriors debut in round 3. Big ground and pound. Now Borendo trains with Martignoni, the champion. He's a decent fighter. So yeah, I mean, Alex Barizani is a slight favorite. They seem to be, I don't want to say setting him up, but you know, this is in Italy, so I was surprised he wasn't going to be more of a favorite. It just felt like a bit of a step up fight. But yeah, the boy Pierce is in here finally. What's going on, mate?
Yeah, sorry about that. I was on the phone with Chad's mother, so you know she kept trying to drag on my attention. But did I miss any fights, or is this the first one that we're talking about?
You're lying, bro. You're lying because I'm skyping Chad's mum in another tab right now. So
Oh,
you're
she's talking to
lying.
multiple men.
No, I quickly breezed through the first one, two, three fights. I said I didn't tape because
Oh, that
there's no
fight's off. That fight's
effects.
been off.
Oh, it is
Kamda Dia? Yeah, he's been off for a couple weeks now.
still on Tapology, but it makes sense why there's no odds. And I briefly went over Martin Yoni. You know, he's a big favorite. He looks good on tape. The other guy doesn't. I don't know if you got anything to add.
Yeah, no, that's a squash match. Is that his brother?
I don't know. I thought about that too. I thought that's why the line. It could be one of those ones where the line is like that because they think it's his brother, but it's not. Um, but I mean, he does look like a squash match. Yeah, I agree.
And then the Dolgi versus Badaglia. I think the under in that fight might be a good look. This Constantine Dolgi guy, he's awful. He's horrible. So
Mm.
he's probably gonna get run through. But yeah, this fight right here, I actually got a bet on this fight. I bet Alex Bartonese. And you kind of touched on it before I hopped in here, but like this is a massive step up in competition for Adigazol. God, these names are going to be horrible to pronounce them for the rest of the card. But Barris, I mean, he's a good kickboxer. I just bet Alex at dog odds because I see a path to victory. I mean, he's a grappler, but he's not like his wrestling's nothing special. But you can tell he's not a bum at all. And I kind of rate the level of competition he's fought. I know he lost to Deganji and Chiesa, but those guys are very good, and he was winning the Deganji fight pretty comfortably until getting finished in the third round. And I guess in Barris's last fight, he looked good in the first round. Like you can tell the guy's a good striker, but once he got out of the first round, he gassed really bad, and I didn't really like what I saw on bottom from him because Luca Barando, from what I remember, he's like a striker at heart. So it's like seeing him get grounded and just really have no way to get up against Luca was pretty hard to watch considering he's fighting someone that's probably going to look for takedowns here. But I wouldn't go crazy on Alex just because it's like you saw in the Chiesa fight, he got stuck on the feet and it's like he got boxed up by a southpaw striker and got finished. So if Bertonese can't get it down to the mat early, because I do think Barras could find a first round knockout, then maybe he could lose. But if it gets extended, I have to assume that Alex is getting off on the grappling. But I played a submission prop as well. I didn't mind the look on that, considering that I think he's going to grapple in this matchup, and Barras is a kickboxer. Probably a white belt, so submission's probably not a bad look on the Alex side.
Yeah, that's the only concern. How he has been sparked in the first round, and this French guy's at least decent. But yeah, I thought it was going to be more juiced, just because decent Italian guy in Italy. All right, let's move on. Emmanuel Tetti versus Alessio Bobara. I mean, what is there to say here? Tetti's is a striker. He ran through a dude in his Cage Warriors debut with a KO, nice and quick. And this Barbara guy, I mean, he seems to be well rounded. He's grappling more and he's going to a decision a lot. But Tetti is extremely juiced. This guy's Barbara's never been finished. So I don't know. I don't know how this fight looks if he gets extended and Teddy doesn't knock him out. I don't know if he's a one-dimensional kickboxer or what the deal is. So it's easy pass for me.
Yeah, I was maybe looking at the under 2.5 in this fight, but seeing it's at minus 200 right now, I feel like that's a bit forced. But I mean, in theory, Tetti's probably gonna finish this guy. Barbara's he tries to grapple, but he's pretty ass. Let's be real. This is low level Italian MMA. Teddy is a good striker in his own right, but we don't know enough about his takedown defense or his ground game to be laying minus 400. But with that being said, he should win. But I just what happens if it gets out the first round? We don't know if Teddy's gonna def gas, but yeah, rightful favorite. I just don't know if I want action. Maybe if Teddy blows up, I'll probably if I can get like 4-1 on a Barbara, I'll probably take a shot just for the narrative's sake. But yeah, it's probably a pass fight, current odds.
Indeed, a lot of those, and this one might be another one. Giuseppe Maestro uh, Giacomo versus Valentino Riva. Yeah, I mean Giuseppe's another massive favorite, and on tape he looks more well put together. He's got clean striking in and out, and he's got some good ground game, and he just seems to be more dynamic. Whereas this Riva is another one of those. crotch sniffer, and he's pretty unimpressive. Most of the decisions, he's got a doctor stoppage, but he's also lost via decision too. So I guess this is another step up, maybe another squash match, but it's hard to tell. Um, yeah, easy pass for me again.
Yeah, I'm actually I didn't play any money lines, but I'm tempted on the under here, man. I see it's plus money. I know probably the under's more predicated to Mastro Giacomo probably getting a finish. I did play his KO prop just because it's like what I've seen from Riva on the feet. Dude's a heavy bag. He's tough, I guess. I'll give him that, but like he's if he gets stuck on the feet, I don't even think Giuseppe's a good striker. It's just he's levels better on the feet than Riva, which is saying something if you watch the tape. But if Riva can't hit takedowns here, I would assume he's probably getting knocked out. And the under at plus money for 2.5. I might play it. I'm not sure yet. Maybe maybe look to pass on that as well. But there's a lot of these on the card, man. Pass, pass, pass. But yeah, Master Giacomo rightful favorite, but money line's a little too choose for my liking.
Yeah, yeah. Too many low level Italian fights that I don't really want to pay to find out. Uh, from this fight though, we're getting into some high level fights for Cage Warrior standards. Right, this is one of them. Tanio Pogliraccio versus Sam Creasy. I taped this one on the first day of tape, and I was thinking that this whole card is a pass, and I came across this fight, and two fights in, I'm like, man, this line is way off. He was playing $3.20, and I thought, oh man, I know Tonio is not the greatest, and I remember before getting to the Fanny fight, I remember he quit on the stool, which is always a red flag. But just watching him light up Blank, I had some money on Blank there as a big dog. Sprawl and brawl. I know Sam's chin quite well. Sam Creasy's chin. I've been fading him for years, right? Even before he was 35 years of age. He didn't have a chin even in his prime. And yeah, I just thought, if this 25-year-old kid can have a decent performance, $3.20, they were making Sam, 80%. And I was like, no way, even though, you watch the fight, he kind of gets cracked by Blank in round 3 and swarmed. And then you watch, Sam Creasy, and he's a good fighter. He's good everywhere. He's got power in his hands. I mean, he hurts a lot of people. He hurt Shanks. He dropped Berchich and Guillotine choked him. He hurt Hark, I think, like in every single round 1, 2, and 3 before he got knocked out. Yeah, he's just strong. He muscles people around. He can get takedowns. I mean, he hurt LeBond. He's fought the who's who, and he fought in prime Lupoli in his last fight, coming off a massive KO, and he won. 29-28 in Italy, I think that might have been. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong. So he's still got some juice in the tank. He's not a bum. But yeah, it's just I waited for some reason because the lines didn't what's it called, couldn't put decent enough money on it, so I just waited. And then I got steamed a little bit. It was plus 150, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna hit it now because this might keep going and going. And I could put $500 on it, which I did, and now it's a pick'em, and I'm even second guessing myself. I mean, I think it's like plus money. I would even hit Sam Creasy just because he's still got juice in the tank. We've seen him beat a decent, Italian Lupoli, and Lupoli did beat Tanio, I'm pretty sure, on the regionals. So yeah, but it's just, even in that fight, Lupoli cracked him and wobbled him, and Lupoli is a negative decision machine with no power. So I think if you got a decent plus money on each side, it's okay. Hopefully Tanya comes out and fights like the Blank fight, but he does head pressure, and he does, wrestling is his downfall. So we'll see what Sam can do in here. But yeah, I've got 500 on Tanya at plus 150, and I think you might have a better line as well.
Yeah, it seems like you got in just before the big bad wolf steamed the line. But I bet I got like a grand on Tanyo. It was like 2-1, but I mean, now that it's a pick 'em, I'm not gonna sit here and tell everybody Tanyo's the side. I think Sam Creasy's slight favorite probably makes sense just because he's more tenured, he's got more process, probably has path to victory with the wrestling, but At the early lines, they were pricing Sam Creasy as if he's got Tannehill covered everywhere, and I just don't agree because if Sam strikes with him, Tonio, I know he leaves his hands down, leaving the pocket, so he could be open to counters, but I just think if they're at range and Sam's not going for takedowns, Tonio's got the faster hands, and I mean, you talked about it. Sam Creasy's chin is always a liability, and he keeps getting older, man. He's 35 years old, and while he doesn't look like he's regressing in terms of skill set, I mean, we've seen him chin by. He made Shaw's Hawk look like Francis Ngannou. I mean, nobody. Who does Sajul Hawk knock out? Nobody but Sam Creasy. So
Not
I
not
could
like
see.
that.
I could. I also played the Tonio KO as well, just for. I think the limits were only 100, but I didn't mind that look, just considering that it's the narrative that Creasy's chin is kind of suspect. But if Tonio can keep it standing, man, I think it's a very competitive fight, and the plus money looks value. But at current odds, it's probably a pass. I just can't lay minus money on Tanio considering he quit on the stool his last fight, which was weird because I don't know if he was injured. It didn't look like he was injured, and it's not even like he was getting like 10-8'd by Gerardo Fanny. It's like 1-1, maybe 2-0 Tanio, and he just quit on the stool, which made no sense to me. So that's maybe a red flag. But in Italy, I know Sam Creasy got a cheeky decision his last fight in Italy, even though he should have won. But maybe we get a hometown cooking in a close fight. But yeah, the Benoit Blanc fight was actually a good look for Tonio, and if he can just keep that volume and pressure on Sam, I think he could chin him because kid's fast, man, and when you got speed and you got a chin like Sam Creasy, could go down. So I'm taking Tonio and KO, but if you like Creasy, his decision line's not bad at all. I think it's like plus 300 if I recall. So Sam Creasy probably wins the overs hit if Tonio probably wins the unders hit. So it's a binary fight in terms of the over under. But yeah, Tonio is the bet current odds. I'm gonna pass.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's a 29-28 in Italy, and I agree that is a red flag. I looked on his Instagram as if he had an injury or something coming in. Usually in UFC, when someone quits on the stool, has a bad performance, they say apologies to my fans. I had this coming into the fight, and he just said something like, "Shit happens. It is what it is. We'll be back." So I'm like, don't tell me you just quit because you broke in there. Like I want to see an excuse. I was looking for an excuse to boost my confidence, like a broken rib or something, because it was 1-1 going into the third, and he had a point deduction from Fanny, right? So he could have, even if he lost the third round, he would have had a draw. Worst case. Oh, actually, no, he got 10-8. Oh no, wait, yeah, it would have been a draw. So I was like, why would you take the loss? Like you just have to 5 minutes. But I mean, yeah, we'll see. Creasy can definitely bully him. I'm gonna give him a. I'm gonna hope that in Italy he comes in and gives it his all and is pumped up.
I mean, we didn't touch on. We got a 10-year age advantage in our favor, so that's
Yeah,
worth
that's the thing.
noting. Maybe he's making improvements for all we know.
It's hard. It's hard not to make improvements just by rocking up to training at 25 years of age. Yeah, let's move on. Alrighty, this is the last weird fight before the good fights. Daniel Jericolio, Sami Sadikov. No fight. No tape on Sadikov, and Daniel is a Muay Thai guy making his debut. Do you have anything to add? There's literally nothing I can add to this fight.
Yeah, I saw that there is no tape on Samir, so just left it alone. Can fuck off.
Cool. I'll go with, for the sake of being picks, I'll go with Chuck Norris. All right, Chuck Norris with two machine guns. Um, yeah, I think we can keep this one relatively quick as well. My boy Leo Aliu versus Alon Carlos. I mean, they're giving my boy a squash match here because literally the worst guy in Cage Warriors in the division, so we can get a win after getting mauled by Darren Stewart. Yeah, I think this is a squash. I wouldn't parlay Aliu, someone as bad as him, but yeah, he should have this guy covered. He can't be grappled, but I don't think this 40-year-old jiu-jitsu guy really has the physicality to grapple him for three without getting hurt or something. So you happy to move on here, or
Yeah, you pretty much said it. Carlos's ass. He's like Guilherme Cadena of this card. They always bring in these old Brazilians to lose to the guy they're trying to get a free win, and that's exactly what's happening right here. But they lose kind of. He's old in his own right too. He's like 34 years old, so it's like He's not no young prospect, but he's nothing special. But yeah, should smash him. If he loses to Carlos, just retire.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he considered it after getting mauled by Darren Stewart, but there's another chance to redeem himself. Alrighty, finally up to the good fights. This is what Cage Warriors is about. Luka Iovine versus Andrei Chichenko. Yeah, decent fight. Decent fight. Big age gap here. I think this is exactly 10 years as well. Or Andre was 24 in his Cage Warriors debut, so maybe 11 years even. Yeah, he wants to grapple old man Andre. I remember I really wanted to play him against in his debut against that Indonesian guy that one of my sharp friends played because there was like an Indonesian narrative for the Cage Warriors. They had like a sponsor that they had, etc.
Yeah, that was me. That was a horrible bet.
Yeah,
Got,
I said my sharp friends, someone else on the side as well.
oh, well, I
Um,
guess I'm not sharp, but I did play that, and I was not sharp on that bet indeed.
yeah, yeah. Well, I expect that from you, but I actually expect him to usually hit his bets. But anyway, I did a tape, and this Ukrainian dude, I think he moved somewhere to a better. He had a layoff, and then he had a much better gym. So I was like, yeah, I think he's going to improve from here. And I don't really care about his one loss to the Georgian guy that's in KSW now, mauling people, uh, Jojua, the male version, the male Jojua, not the female one. So I don't really care about that. He got mauled there in terms of just getting grappled for 3 rounds. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if he showed much improvements against the Yoga in his debut. Just kind of wrestled him. He kind of looked to be slowing down as well. But did what he had to do. He's young. He's whatever. He's a Ukrainian grappler. Luka, I've been taping him a lot recently. He's fought in Octagon. He fought in Bellator. And now he's back in Cage Warriors. He's just jack of all trades. He mixes his own takedowns in. He can be taken down. He spends a lot of time on his back. He looks for submissions off his back, but they're a little bit sloppy. Nothing that he should be hitting high level fighters with. He was winning against Filip Matek in Octagon, and then he got armbarred in round 3, which is a massive red flag for me. I mean, he got submitted by Stipe Bercic, which I don't want to say is a red flag because Bercic is decent, but to get submitted by him, what kind of jiu-jitsu does he have? He got grounded out by Grosvenor, which a lot of people do. He's just like this physical Finnish grappler. And Moore beat him as well, which I think Moore is washed. And I think you agree with me. We both considered fading Moore in that Bellator fight with that Brazilian that submitted him.
I thought he got robbed in that fight pretty bad, but
Yeah, I was keeping that in the back of my mind, taping it, but I thought it was 1-1 going into the third, and you know, but Moore, like I said, Moore's washed, man. Moore's not what he used to be. So yeah, I mean, I ultimately lean the Ukrainian guy, but I haven't taken a poke at Pick'em. I'm trying to decide if there's any value on this kid at Pick'em in Italy. This is not a short notice fight, right? This was predetermined.
I want to say it's. I don't think it's short notice, but it wasn't like I think it was made a couple weeks ago, if I recall correctly. But it's
Yeah.
I agree with you. If you don't mind, I'll take over. But yeah, at Pick'em, I'm really tempted by Taishinko. I know our buddy
No, it is. It is.
Cowboy.
It is short notice. Luca jumped in again, short notice.
That's no surprise there. Seems like he
He,
just
al- he
takes
always he
whatever
always
fights
does
he can get.
in his last few fights.
Yeah, but some of our friends are on Taishinko around to pick him, and I mean, I lined him before the fight. I think I messaged you before the odds came out. I'm like, maybe we'll have a big underdog shot on Yavin, Luka Yavin, and they opened it probably more tighter than I expected. I had Taishinko minus 200. And it's like it's not even that I think he's like some amazing prospect. It's more so it's like Luka's an idiot, man. I know you probably saw a couple of his fights, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. This dude has an uncanny ability of like committing fouls. I don't know if you caught that as well, but he's literally like kneeing opponents, grabbing the cage. He's just doing all the fucking fouls. But He's not bad. I mean, you look at his record, it's like he's only like won like 3 fights out of his past 10, and it's like I assumed he was a can, but like he's having competitive fights, and these are good fighters that he's fighting. So this is more of a test on where Andre is at, because if Andre is like any resemblance of a decent prospect, he's probably gonna beat Luca, probably get top time. I mean, even on the feet, it's like Luca's very limited. He kind of just spams one-shot combinations, spam low kicks. And I guess my only concern if I'm betting Andre is him jumping for front chokes and ended up on bottom. I mean, I didn't know the Georgian dude that beat him, some stud in KSW. Seems like he is looking at his record, but yeah, I didn't like how Andre he likes your go-to submission in the Steve Gilly. And he does that a little too much for my liking. So if Luca does go for takedowns, maybe he can get top time here. But I feel like Andre is just going to be the more aggressive. Probably has a lot more finishing upside in this matchup. And I did poke at Andre by submission. They opened his submission line the widest out of all his props, and I just thought that was a bit odd considering that this fight's probably going to have grappling, whether it's Luca or Andre initiating it. They're probably going to grapple for the majority of the fight. And hearing you talk about it and you're on the fence too, I'm probably going to play Andre. I don't know how much I want to do. Maybe, I don't know if I want to wait because I don't expect any Luca money to come in. But yeah, I'll take the guy that's younger, more aggressive. And Luca's a midget, 5'4". So, maybe Andre's going to have a significant size advantage in this matchup. Is it it's at bantamweight?
Should be. Let me just
Yeah,
check.
actually. I don't think Luca's
Yeah,
ever fought
it
at
is.
flyweight.
But he's
He's just a short tank.
what was I gonna say? Luca money already has come in, right? Because Andre was a favorite yesterday.
Yeah, he was like, I think he opened around like minus 200, which is where I had him at. So I didn't even blink twice about that. But seeing the amount of Luca money come in, it's like, I don't know. This guy seems like an idiot. He seems like I mean, you said in the Philip Masick fight, he was winning until he isn't. So I don't know how trustworthy this 35-year-old Italian is, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a test for Andre to see where he's at in his career. But I think he can pass it. Probably, I think he can get the finisher. Honestly, I see either. I see a club and sub. That's just my gut feeling.
One thing I'll say is, we're cautious about the guillotine attempt. I mean, he's coming off a guillotine loss after Brian Moore, and yeah, I mean, he's been submitted a lot, man. He's been submitted by Philip, which is a red flag, and
Yeah, it's 5-1. I know it's only $100, but shit,
yeah.
ain't too
I
bad
mean,
of
I
odds.
just think he's washed, and he's just taking all these short notice fights. Brian Moore fight was short notice as well, and then he fought 4 months later, and now he's fighting again 4 months later on short notice. Like
Hey, he beat the great Percy Herrera, man. Put some respect on that win.
he's obviously like constantly training. And he's just ready for these short notice fights. But yeah, I would rather, you know, if
Did
I'm
you
betting on
ever
someone, he has a full camp for these fights.
see his knockout loss to Nathaniel Wood?
No, of course, bro.
Dude, that's some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. Yeah, this dude's. He does seem like he gets finished in a lot of his losses. So yeah, the ITD look on Andre is probably a sneaky look.
Yeah, hopefully Andre's leveled up a little bit. Still kind of looks a bit green. All right, this is a good fight. Michelangelo Lupoli versus Nicolas LeBlanc. Good fight. Probably would have taken Nicolas as a slight dog. But that's another line that's moved, along with Luca and a few of these others. I mean, I think we know it only takes one person to put a couple of bets in, and then the lines move.
The big bad
Uh,
wolf.
yes, you keep calling the wolf, but uh, yeah, I mean, at Pick'em, I have no interest. Lupoli is pretty negative, like we said. Constantly backs up, looks to counter you. He has decent wins on his record. Tanya, who we just mentioned, who's fighting Creasy, shut down Aaron Abbey, who's extremely non-physical, so it's kind of easy to shut him down. And, lost to 29-28 to the latest edition of Sam Creasy after a big knockout loss. So it just kind of shows that Creasy ain't that bad, but he's usually hard to wrestle. He put up Creasy just came out there looking to wrestle extremely hard. And I think this LeBon guy is pretty good, man. Nothing special. He also lost to Creasy 29-28 3 years ago, though. So Creasy was a bit more in his prime. He got dropped there. He got dropped by Luke Shanks. So I kind of have issues with his chin, maybe. And then after that, fought two bums and Ryan Curtis and Somerson on the regionals, even more regionals than Cage Warriors, and just kind of ran through him. But he he passes the eye test. He's a judo guy. He's got good striking, good wrestling. He can be taken down though. I just feel like this is a back and forth, extremely competitive fight. I'm not rushing to play the French guy against the Italian dude in Italy. So, like I said, I would have taken LeBron at slight plus money. I passed, and now I got no interest. What about you?
Yeah, I'm on LeBlanc, slight plus money. Got in early this week, but yeah, Lupoli, I thought he was better than he was, man. When I ran the tape back, it's very frustrating. This dude has like no finishing ability, and he's low volume. That's the main thing that stuck out to me is the volume on the Lupoli side, and it's like, does Lupoli come off as like a? He doesn't really come off as like an offensive grappler. It's more so like he'll counter grapple and end up on top. But I don't know if he has really a takedown path in this fight on LeBlanc.
No, he probably shoot. I've seen him shoot occasionally. But yeah, he'd rather counter on the back foot.
Yeah, but watching LeBlanc, because it's like I started the tape and like all I saw was striking from him, and it seems like in the past two fights he actually has decent wrestling that he goes to, but it's a close fight. I just think LeBlanc's probably got more volume, more aggression, and it's like Luke Lee, he's probably his path to victory is probably just dancing around on the outside and probably winning a 29-28 decision. And that's just not something I'm looking to back as a guy that's just willing to just concede to the back foot and just weasel a decision. So LeBlanc's the side for me. Wouldn't necessarily go out on a limb and say he's a lock or any means. I cap him maybe slight favorite, minus 130, minus 140. And I got a LeBlanc KO at a like $14, and it's at like $8 right now. I don't mind that. He does hit hard. He only has like one knockout on his record, but we've seen in a lot of his fights, he drops opponents. I mean, the Luke Shanks fight, he dropped Luke, I think, twice, if I'm correct. So this dude's got pop in his hands, man. And if Luke Lee's trying to dance around, go leave the pocket with his chin up in the air, I think he could get caught by LeBlanc here, man. But it's a good fight. Pretty high level for Cage Warriors Italy standards. But yeah, LeBlanc, but expect like a close decision either way.
Indeed, I will say that Shanks is extremely chinny. He's one of those chinny cage warrior dudes. But yeah, alrighty. Speaking of high level fights, Simone the Tiger Dana, I guess, versus Albert Diaz. Yep. So this, I favor Diaz as a decent kickboxer with a good anti-grappling game. He's beat Richie Smullen, which is pretty impressive, even though Smullen's nothing special. And yeah, I mean, beating a Steve Amaby, I think Simone is probably a level or two under. It's hard to really get a read on what the Simone guy is good at. He's going around and he's hurting Brian Moore 3 years ago when Moore was a bit less washed, and he's getting knocked out. But then it's Jurakic. This guy is Serbian, so I know him well. He's the typical bad journeyman Serbian. He's like 2-3 now, but he hits like a truck, and he just sparked him early. So he's definitely chinny in my eyes from what I've seen. And then the fights that he's winning via decision, it's like he wants takedowns, but he's getting taken down himself, and he gets stuck on his back. But then the dudes that he's fighting also get stuck on their back. That just could be the fact that they're really awful. So yeah, I don't really know what his path is. He had good leg kicks against Brian Moore, but I haven't seen him really much else in any other fight. And yeah, Albert Diaz will probably be the more high level striker, but I mean at this line right here, it's just, man, I had to pass on a much better Albert Diaz line because I was like, okay, $1.60, he probably wins a 29-28 here, kind of like he did against Stephen Amavi, and this is in Italy, and you always have to assume that these Italians are going to be rearing to go in their home nation, just a bit more from the crowd. The Italian crowd is crazy, and the judges are also awful in Cage Warriors, as in they're kind of like lazy judges. Nothing happens, and they usually give it to the Italians and stuff. And I bet on the Italians before, and I felt lucky that a judge would give me 30-27 instead of going to a split. So yeah, just no value, and especially no value now, man. Diaz is line now like this is a squash match. Like he's one of the Dana is one of the guys being brought in to get killed by Diaz, even though Dana's the Italian. So yeah, Diaz is probably just going to dance around him and kick him on the outside and rack up the points. And he's going to have to defend some takedowns from Dana. I can see this being scrappy with him maybe hurting. Simone hero there with that awful chin of his, and yeah, no interest. Well, I mean, I'm considering the dog, but I don't know if I want to put my money on a dog like Simone personally. What about you?
Yeah, I got involved in this line. I played the dog, Deanna, when he was like plus 290. Man, I just couldn't help. But thank goodness we have Big Bird to tell us about openers that were available for 3 minutes.
We have a lot of
They're
trolls today.
available.
Even Mr. X, more like Big Cock Podcast. What does that even mean, man? Did you mean Big Cock? Well, I like to be modest myself, so. But if that's what you meant, thank you.
Well, I've actually evolved. I don't bet the $100 openers. We just wait. We just spam refresh until it's 250. Then we make our move.
Yeah, he's just giving you a stale Simone line that's as good as it's ever been with really big limits. There you go.
There we go. Yeah, the Big Bad Wolf actually was the reason why this line blew up out of proportion. And I got to disagree with the Big Bad Wolf. I think Diaz, before he got steamed, he was like minus 225, minus 240. That made sense. It's like, but now we see Diaz, he's creeping up to minus 400, and that's just not who he is. He's not like someone that can cover that price tag. He's a decision fighter. He doesn't really have much finish and upside. I know Deanna is chinny, but if he can make this a scrappy fight, I feel like it can be competitive. But I'm expecting to lose this decision. I think Deanna was ass when before the odds came out. I'm like, oh, I'm fading the shit out of this guy, but I just, it's crazy how the odds change my perception of a fight. But yeah, they like this Simone guy. Cage Warriors has been marketing him, and there's a reason he's in the co-main event spot. I'm not trying to really speculate a narrative, but if it's a close fight, because I know Deanna, he lacks a lot of skill, but I'll give him that. He's scrappy. So if Diaz can't keep it pretty and it turns into a dogfight, I think Simone can maybe steal moments and grease out a decision. But yeah, anybody laying chalk on Diaz or parlaying him up at these odds, I just advise not doing that. Just be smarter with your money. Diaz is not the guy to cover these big favorite price tags. Now I'm going to say that and he's going to chin Simone in 1 minute. But yeah, I just can't help but think it's dog or pass. Clear dog or pass.
I mean, not long ago, Albert Diaz lost a clear decision to Jose Sanchez. If people know who Jose Sanchez is, sassy. He's like 40 years old, and they brought him into the Bellator to get beat by Magomed Sharipov. He's
I
not the
mean,
greatest.
He took a long layoff, I think, from his last fight, did he not? And he actually looked pretty solid. He was a big dog to aimable, I believe. So it's like the market's like it's a huge overreaction. Them
Yeah,
thinking,
that was one that I had big FOMO on because everyone was on Diaz at plus 230, and he was just closing in, but he was. I mean, end of the day, he still covered, even slight dog, you know. Want to clear 29-28. That was one that I was watching, and I was like, he always takes like 2 years off, 3 years off, and drastic improvements every single time. He's getting mauled on the ground, and then he wins a grapple decision against Smolin, and then he comes back and he looks amazing against Steve Ammerby, you know, like a really complete fighter. So he's definitely the better fighter here. But even Simone is 28 years old as well, so he's in his prime. He's in Italy. I'm sure he's improving too. But yeah, it's a dog or pass, man. Speaking of dog or pass, which I'm sure you will disagree with me, Simone Patrizi, Dimitri Girlean, struggling to pronounce this guy's name. Seems like he should be an Irish person. Yeah, this is a rematch. On the regionals, Girlean sparked them with a head kick, and it's also a short notice fight. Girlean was meant to fight someone else, right? And Patrizi jumped in. Maybe I'm wrong. No, okay, my bad. I was looking at it now, and I was like, damn, that wasn't right. I must have looked at something else. But yeah, Patrizi, you know, he's an athletic guy. He's a striker. He's not really good, to be honest. He's fought a low level of competition. This last Albanian dude, Zafari, is the best guy he fought other than Girlean. Girlean knocked him out in 50 seconds, and Shafari was actually having his way. You know, he was taking him down at will. He was cracking him, hurting him multiple times, and then yeah, in rounds three, in a disengaging from a clinch exchange, Simone threw a left right and dropped him and finished him. So kind of high roll to finish there, come from behind win, which is why Girlean's probably a massive favorite. But yeah, I mean, Girlean, man, first time I seen him was against Adam Cullen, and you know he ended that Cullen train, which that fade was always coming. And you know he was he's a well-rounded guy. You know, he gives up his back a lot, but it's hard to really sink anything in. He's hard to hold down. He's good at scrambling. He loves the guillotine, but he's one of those guys that probably shouldn't be going for it from all those positions. He uses it to sweep sometimes. But yeah, he seems durable. He seems to have power. Obviously, has a head kick knockout, has a straight right hand knockout against Cullen. But yeah, we saw against Leon Hill, you know, that giving up that back came back to haunt him again and got rear naked choked in round one. I do agree that he should be the favorite, just because he seems the more well-rounded, more tested guy. But yeah, this much of this, I reckon these guys are not too far apart in terms of levels. Like this much of a favorite. Obviously, PSG have a better line, and then the rest is just people piling on and piling on, like forcing low-level cage warrior dudes in parlays and crap, which is just it's no bueno. It might work out here, but it's an Italian versus Italian. I think this Simone guy is improving as well. So yeah, it's a big dog of pass for me, but I got no interest in the fight.
Yeah, it's all because of the big bad wolf eating up these lines. But yeah, it's this current line is ridiculous. I Yeah, you did mention I got a position on Girlean, but no fucking way I'm playing him at these odds. I just think it's one of those fights where he's just slightly better in every facet of MMA compared to Patrizi by like a slight margin. I just think he has him covered in every aspect, but it's not even like I don't even know if Girlean can cover this price tag unless he's hitting like a massive head kick like he did in the first fight between them. But it's an odd fight. I guess this is the highest level Cage Warriors fight they can get from this Italian MMA scene, but. Yeah, weird main event, and I think Girlean's the rightful favorite. Probably gets it done. But Patrizi, he showed he's a dog in his last fight. I know he was losing a lot. He's comfortably losing to Zafari. He didn't dominate it, but he high rolled a finish. So Girlean, I think he does have a problem as well, jumping guillotines. He did that a lot in the Cullen fight. And he honestly might have been 1-1. He might have been down in that fight, but it's not even like he's a great minute winner in his own right. I just think Patrizi, if he can keep it standing, because I know Girlean sometimes likes to clinch and go for takedowns, but I don't really see him getting in the back of Patrizi. Patrizi did a good job in the Safiri fight of defending the back take, so I expect these guys to clinch, strike a lot, and Girlean's probably got more weapons on the feet. Patrizi's a dog, so maybe he can catch him with something, but Girlean's probably going to pick him apart to a decision, in my opinion. But close fight. I don't fault anybody playing Patrizi. He's the value side for sure, but just not for me. I think it's a value loser at the end of the day.
Yep, and that's the end of this card, which is a whole lot of something. Yeah, I don't know. We might like some over-unders, but unfortunately, this doesn't feel like one of those easy money unders, Cage Warrior cards. If anything, I see a lot of decisions, a lot of competitive decisions. I mean, the Diaz fight, the Bond fight, the main event, the under 2.5 is a minus 200, which is crazy. I think they really think that, you know, they're valuing that Cullen KO and maybe the head kick KO against Patrizi in
Well,
the under.
doesn't Girlean's got like one decision, does he not?
He does, but I mean, who's the best guy that he's finished? You know, Adam Cullen. It's just a bunch of bums. I guess if you go to his amateurs, it's just all decisions. I guess he does hit hard, and he also gets rear naked choked a lot. But I don't think that's in play here. Yeah, I don't know, man. Tough card. Yeah, that's about it. You got anything to add?
Hey, you wanna? 'Cause I know some people got short-term memory loss, so you want to share maybe some best bets for the people that are tuning in late?
Best bets. If I had a bet, yeah, I would. I was contemplating this Andre guy as we were talking, and after I finished tape, I'm just thinking, is there a way that he looks at least a slight favorite in this fight? If he gets a submission, probably.
I mean, if it stays stand-in, he could honestly just bully him on the feet. I mean, he's pretty limited in the striking department.
I mean, he's having competitive fights with Brian Moore on the feet.
Yeah, I guess it's just more so just leg kicks, and he just spams overhand bombs. There's not really much technique. Maybe look at the face-offs, because I think Andre might be a lot more physical than him. He might just bully the older guy. So I think he could
Mm.
finish him early, so that's why I think if Andre does win, it could look like a big favorite. I'll probably make a poke on that, but for myself, best bet at current odds. Oof, 1 second. Yeah, current odds, it's tough because it's a lot of the lines that I got on their pick 'em, and that's kind of the reason why I bet on that plus money is because I think it's a pick 'em. But LeBlanc, I don't mind LeBlanc at these odds. I think he's going to have a higher volume and higher finishing ability in this matchup. Diana is probably my favorite dog at current odds just because it's like Albert Diaz covering that price tag of minus 350. It's just like, what world does that happen? So yeah, that's probably going to be a value dog that I'm looking to poke. And yeah, I think that's about it. And Andre, I'll probably make a play on him. But yeah, that's it for this card. Weird one. But next Cage Warriors card in London should be nice.
Yeah, next week is amazing. I'm happy just to pass on everything this week just because I'm excited about Octagon. The Rising card is like ACA card with in Azerbaijan.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I just turned on my Siri. What the fuck? Yeah, Azerbaijan card is a lot of Russians and there's LFA and ONE FC, and UFC is obviously back, and I already got a couple of plays for UFC, so I don't mind passing on this guy. I don't want to force any of these. I lost like $2,000 on Cage Warriors last week, and it's like I made 2,000 on KSW, and it just broke my balls that I forced these low level fights. Like you can't get a read on these bums.
I don't know
It's
why
just
you're fading the. I don't know why you're fading the Black Irish. Come on now.
because he looked like a bum, dude, like an absolute bum. He did, bro. He looked like an absolute bum. He's getting cracked by these 3 and 5 guys they gave him for squash matches, and he's going into rounds 3 with them, and he's having like he's having a tough fight with him. Meanwhile, the Finnish guy actually has good back takes, and he actually looked more dangerous. But dude, everyone in Ireland was drugged. Everyone was roofied. They were all mouth breathing after halfway through round 1. I'm like, what? I turned it on, and the Finnish guys are gassed, and it's halfway through round 1. I'm like, what's this? It's
Yeah,
sus.
they roofied Ryan Hewitt, or else he would have won against that midget. But yeah, looking forward to next week, guys. Hop in the Discord on for the Big Brain podcast, and got a lot of what is it? Octagon Europe or not Europe? England. They got main event. Aaron Abbey main event. I know we talked about him, so that's gonna be funny. Maybe look to fade Aaron Abbey at plus money. What can
It's
go
gonna be
wrong
beautiful.
there? Yes, sir. Yeah, pleasure
All right.
as always. Thanks for having me on, and post my bets for free on Bet MMA Tips at Big Bird UFC. So I wrote some breakdowns on these bets that I have. So take it as you wish, and yeah, let's make some money.
Yeah, go suss it. Go suss it. Otherwise, follow me on Twitter for some LFA. Hopefully, I'll find something after I get off here. Alrighty. Peace.